Thank you for joining me. I am Lucy from BookWidgets, and I'm going to explain how you can close your BookWidgets account and organize it, you can start clean, start fresh next school year. On the agenda, so there are different account settings for searching and saving student results and feedback. We're going to take a look at school inspection. So what will happen if someone comes to your school and asks some student records, some search results, and so on. So you have to find them somewhere in your BookWidgets account, and I'm going to show you what is good for you to show inspection, and of course it is legitimate to just show it that way. There are two ways. You can go to search results. You can also export your results, and I'll show you both ways. Of course, what if a student repeats his year? So here in Belgium, it's often that a student doesn't reach all the goals they have to reach, so they have to repeat their year. So what will happen if you give the same exercise you gave them last year? Of course, the answers will still be in the exercise in the BookWidgets activity. So what do you have to do to make sure that that student can start over again without seeing the grades and their answers that they've put in last year? Then there are some handy tips and tricks to start fresh next school year. You can clean up courses and results. You can clean up widgets, and I have some tips and tricks for you on that. I have a few tips on groups and folders, and also you can create templates to make it easier to create new widgets based on what you are used to as a teacher. So let's start with school inspection. So is it sufficient to be able to show student work and feedback to the inspector? Yes, it is. So if you as a teacher can show the student work and the feedback you gave on that work, that's all you need to do. There are a few ways you can do this, and I'm going to show it to you right away. You don't have to show the widget that is associated with the student answers, but of course you can. But it's not necessary. If you can just show the student results, you can also see the questions you've asked and the input and the content of the lesson you gave. So there are two ways of finding student work and results in BookWidgets. The first way is to go to the search results and search, of course, for student work and student results. The second way is to go to the results export. I'll show you just in a few minutes how it works and where you have to go for that. So in search results, this is actually for you instantly to look for student work instantly. Those are results that, of course, happened in the past. So in the past year or even more back, you can search for results and you can bring it up and show it to the inspector right on at that moment. So you go to your account itself, and it's the account of the teacher. So in this case, no one else has access to the student work, only the teacher that owns the account. When you go to the results export, there are some more possibilities here. So later on, if you're closing your school year, you can save the results on your desktop or transfer it to your school's desktop using a USB or the cloud, or whatever you want to just transfer it to someone else's laptop. So you just save your results, you export the results, and then save it somewhere where the administration of your school can access it. So this means that your school is not dependable on you as a teacher to show work from that course. That means that the school has also access to the exported results. This one is really easy when, of course, you're a teacher or when you're a substitute teacher and you want to give them the student results, because maybe later on inspection comes along and the school has to prove what that teacher did then in that year for the students, what kind of exercises he gave, what kind of feedback he or she gave. That will be possible with the result exports. So where do you find this? I'm going to show you right away, but I've put it in the slides as well, so you can use it later on and you can quickly check it where you can find it. So we're going to take a look at the search results right away. So I'm in my BookWidgets account. You should be able to see my account right now. I'm logged into my account. I have my widgets here. And when it comes to results, we always have to go to grades and reporting. If you're using BookWidgets inside a learning management system, in Belgium it's Smart School, but it could also be Google Classroom or Teams or something else. You also just log into your BookWidgets account, maybe using your Google key or your Teams account or your Smart School account. There's a single sign-on for both accounts. You just go to bookwidgets.com and log into your account. Then you go to search. So under the grades and reporting tab, there's a little word search. And here you can find anything you want to show. So let's say inspection comes and say, okay, I want you to show me everything on that topic, every single exercise you gave on that topic. You could find and search for the title you remember. Okay, I did something on Europe. I remember that title. You could find here the title. You could kind of choose in which course you gave it. So it could be, so this is a Dutch course, but it could also be just any course. You find it everywhere alongside any course you gave. The inspection could also say, so you have a dyslexic student, give me some work on that. How did you cooperate? What did you do with the student? How did you give feedback? Were they able to use some tools or not? And then you could just type in the student's name and look for it as well. So in this case, I'm just going to search on the title. There are some other parameters you can use. So class, you can enter a date. So I'm just going to say May 1 till today. You can choose if it's start. So if you know this in your BookWidgets grades and reporting dashboard, behind every single student work, there's a star. And you could star some kind of student work, and you could give the star your own meaning. So a lot of teachers use this little star to indicate if they gave feedback or remediation or if they gave some extra exercises to that student, and then they star the icon. So you could say, yes, I want to find all the starred icons here, all the starred student work, as it means that I did some remediation. I gave them some remediation exercises. There are some other parameters here as well. Of course, the most important ones are here, the title, student, or the course where the work was given. You just click on search and everything should pop up right away. So you can see I have some work here on Europe, and I can just open the student work here and show the inspection. You look, this is what I did. This was a terrific student. So she got every answers right. It's automatically graded, but she also got the right answers. And I didn't comment on it because it's automatically graded. But then you can go along, you can see here, this is a student that has a lot of things wrong. And there you can see that I've put in an answer. So this way you can show inspection what you really did and how you give your exercises. And this is actually sufficient. The downside on this one is, of course, that only you can log into your account, and that then the school can't do anything. Then we have the results export. And this is just one step below the search here. Below grades and reporting, you go one step down, results export. And here you can create exports and save everything on your computer. And what you do next with it is up to you. So you can log into your account on a school computer there, and then download and save all the results there. And on their account there on the computer. So that will be easy, and they have access to it as well. You can also download it on your own account and then just send it over to your school so they have it as well. You just create a new results export. So usually teachers do this for a complete school year. So in Belgium, this would be the 1st of September until the end date, and that would be the 30th of June. Yes. And that would be the end date. And then it would take a long time to export all the results, but you have everything in one folder. I'll show you right away how it looks like. And of course, I'm not going to take it over that long period of time. I'm just going to show you, let's see, from a week. Then you just click export and it will start exporting. This can take a long time. So in this case, it's not a long period of time that I want to export. But if you're doing it in 1 year, so if you're exporting everything in 1 year, you have to take a few hours. It can take a long time. You can just open a new tab and start working in BookWidgets and leave the other one open and leave it exporting. So that's no problem. So the downloads, you can see I did it earlier to just test a little bit to show you how long it would stay here. And you can see that you get a date as well. So this export will be available until June 14, and then you can download it on your computer. So when it is ready, you can click on the download button. Let's see if I can, I'll go back to my slides and then see, oh, here it is. I was waiting for that. So I'm going to click on the download button. Then you see that you have a zip and you can just click on it to open it. I'll just open it right away and see, I'll have to share my screen on another, somewhere else. Let's see that you can all see it. Here it is. So you can see my screen now. Well, so you can see that here in all my downloads, I can find this folder. And this is a folder I can put on a USB or I can send over via the cloud and put it somewhere there where my administration can enter it as well. So when I'm gone, they still have every student result of every test I've ever given using BookWidgets. How does it look like? Well, you can open the folder and it will be categorized in your courses. So in this case, I just have one course and it's not really a course, it's just I shared an exercise with links. But if you have a learning management integration, then the courses names will pop up here. So all your courses, you'll get a list of all your courses. You can drop open all the courses, then you'll get a list of all the class. So all your students that are categorized in classes will enter here as well. And then you can open every single class. And in that class, you'll see every single BookWidgets activity they made. So in this case, it's just one, but of course, it could be that you have taken a lot of other tests as well. So all the titles of the widget activities will come up here. Then we can open this one, and then you can see all the students that are in it and all the students that made some work. And this is really interesting, of course, but because this is what you want to show inspection. And I'm going to just open one. So Aban Atik, you just double click on it and it opens right away here. So you can see this is what the student got returned. So this is what you return to the student, and this is what you can show inspection. So you can see all the questions you've asked, you can see the automatic correction, but also your feedback. So I've a general comment right here, but also here that it's a spelling mistake, but I gave a point for that because of course it's about knowledge here in geography and not about spelling here. So this is what you will open, and the interesting thing is that you have an immediate link to the widget that's connected to the student work. So you can click on the title and then the widget will open. And this is the exercise, of course, you shared with your students. So the best thing is to just create a results export for the entire school year and do it just at the end or at the beginning of a school year, and just do it once, and then put it somewhere on your computer or somewhere on a computer where your administration can access it. And you have proof that you have all the results, you have all the widgets that are connected to it. So these two are really important when you want to show what you've done as a teacher. So let's continue the presentation. The next one is, of course, what to do with students who repeat their year. In this case, you have to reset the widget for those students that repeat their year. Otherwise, they will see their filled out answers again. As you know, BookWidgets saves and stores the answer of a student, especially when you're working in a learning management system, just to make sure that when a student gets logged out of the widget or gets there's an internet disconnection, then when they go back to your exercise, their answers are still there and they can just continue to work on it. Of course, that brings this with them, that if a student repeats a year, their answer will also still be in the widget you've shared with them. Or what a lot of teachers do is take a duplicate and send over another widget, but there's another way to do it as well, and that's just to reset the widget. So let me show you how you can reset a widget for just one or just a few particular students for your course. My course, I'll just do it right here. The class name, here it is, and then the name of the repeating student. This is it. So you click on the name and then you see the activity here. So of course you'll see that this student did a lot of other activities as well for that course. You just check out all the activities you want to reset. Most of the time, of course, it's everything. And then you go here to this little cogwheel and then you reset the selected widgets. So that's how it works. Go to your courses, go to a course, click on the student's name, and then reset the activities. So don't reset the student, but reset the activities for that student. That's it. Okay. I've put all the steps here as well. So if you get lost like I do with all those many settings, you can find them right here as well. So there are some other things you can do to start fresh, to tidy up courses, classes, and results from the past school year. The first thing is that everything will be automatically archived. So whenever a school year ends, after the ending of your school year, every course, every student work, every result will be automatically placed to the archive, which means it won't be in your way when you start giving new exercises the next school year. So you don't have to do a thing. So earlier, you had to do it yourself. In this case, you don't have to do anything to archive work from from the past school year. So the automatic archive, here you don't have to do anything, and you can find archive work using the yearly dates. I'll show you right away where you can find it. There's another way to hide courses in your list as well. This is something pretty new. For example, if you're in the first semester, you have a course in the first semester of the school year, but then in the second school year, you don't teach that course anymore, but it's still in your list. You can hide the courses and you can unhide it, of course, as well. And after 1 year, you won't see it. And after 1 year, it will be automatically archived with the complete school year and all the courses and all the student work. Let me show you where you can find the automatic archive and hide courses. The first thing, of course, is the courses. You just go to your courses. That's it. And here you can see there's a date. So this is really important because this is a date for the automatic archive. So here you can find every single result in that particular school year. So in this case, in Belgium, our school year starts the 1st of September. And I go way back to 2013. And it ends the 31 August. It's a complete year. You can edit those dates. So if you're in America, I think you guys end about this time. It depends on what kind of, in what state you live in, but I guess it's kind of, yeah, like this week or next week. You can edit it. So you can just edit the dates of the archives, just enter the first day of the school year. So it can archive every student work in the right school year dates. Then you can just click here to go to your previous year and to see all archived works. And then you can see here everything that's under your courses here is archived work. You can also see here, click here to see archived results, but it's just the same. So you can see it here as well. I guess I have some archived work. I'm not sure, yeah. So here, if you open a course, you can see there is an archive, a binder behind it, and that means that it's archived. And again, this is something you don't have to do. So it will happen automatically. Just here, click on the dates next to your My Courses, go to My Courses, click on the dates, make sure they start at the beginning of your own school year in your country, and then every single year, every work will be archived. Then if you want to look student work, inspection comes, and you want to look for students' work, you just go to search and find student work, or again, you can go to here, just click on a year. So let's say inspection comes up and say, I want to see everything you did in 2017 until 2018. You just click on the date and then take a look at everything you've done that year. You can just open it and you will see all everything in your courses and all your classrooms and all your student work. So that's really interesting, but it happens automatically. Just it's interesting to know where you can find it. Hide courses, that's something else. So when I go to my courses here, and I have 3 courses here. I have an example course for myself, and I have an example course for my colleague, and I have another course that has no name. So in this case, this is a course that my colleague teaches, and I don't want to see everything right here. I don't want to see that course here. So I can just click here on, just check it, and then click on hide, which will mean that I won't see it here in my list. So everything you don't teach anymore, or you just taught for 1 semester or a trimester, it's easy to just hide it so it's not in your way. Again, you can just show the hidden courses again. You can see that it has this little eye next to it. Click on it again and make it unhide. So click on unhide to pop up, let it pop up in your list again. So that's also possible here. So again, I have the instructions written down for the 2 activities right here. Another question we get a lot is, how do you clear your widgets? So how can you tidy up your account? So it's really important to know that you have to be careful with deleting widgets inside your BookWidgets account. But you can delete widgets within your learning management system. So if you're using BookWidgets with a learning management integration with Canvas, Google Classroom, and so on, you may delete the widgets you've shared in a course on the system, but not inside your BookWidgets account. So that's a thing you have to realize. If you've shared it in your learning management system, you can delete it so your students won't see it anymore there. But if you delete it in your BookWidgets account, it will be gone. So it's important that your widgets will stay in your BookWidgets account. So how do you clear them? There are two things you can do, and of course, some things are better than the other. So the first thing is make widgets inaccessible. So if you don't want your students to access a widget, but you've already shared it in your learning management system, but you say, let's say it's the next year is coming up, and you don't want to delete every single widget on your learning management system, just to add just to publish every single widget again on the same course, you just click make your widget inaccessible, so no one from outside that goes inside the learning management system, that goes inside your course, can access the widget. You can still leave everything there. You've shared it, so you can still let the links there. If you've shared links in maybe your paper workbook, you just can leave the links there, but you can make them inaccessible. That's one thing. The other thing is, of course, to delete widgets. If you have a lot of widgets that indicate that they're unfinished, you can delete them, because that means that you haven't shared them with your students yet. So make sure to check if it's one you can delete. But you'll see that the difference between unfinished and a widget that has a code is because you've shared it with your students already or not. So let me show you how to do that. Let's go to my widgets here. So let's say I have a lot of widgets right here, and I've shared them so the ones I've shared are the ones with the codes, because if a widget doesn't have a code like this, then you haven't shared it with your students yet. So I know that I shared this one, and I shared this one, and I shared this one. It's there online on my learning management system, but I don't want anyone to let them access it. So you just click on this little arrow, and then you click here to make it inaccessible, like this. Yes. You'll see that there's a prohibition sign next to it, and which means that students cannot access your widget. So if you shared it in Google Classroom, your students can click on it, but then they will see this. Let me just show you. Then they will see this prohibition sign. So they won't be able to access it. So they won't be able to see the content. Whenever your students can access it, the only thing you have to do is make it accessible again. And then the students click again on the exercise, or they reload the exercise, and then they can see it. That's just it. Of course, it has no content, this one. So that's one thing you can do: hide and unhide, make accessible and make inaccessible. The other one you can do, of course, is delete your widgets. So if these widgets are in the way, you just delete them. Make sure, first thing, that it has no code, because if a widget has a code, it's probably possible that you've already shared that widget with your students, and if you're going to delete it, you're losing a widget. So take a look at it unfinished, then click on show to see if it has some valuable content. In this case, it hasn't. So then you just click on every single widget you want to delete, click on this arrow, and click on delete selected widgets. Of course, those widgets will be deleted from your list. Oh no, I have deleted something that I still want to use. So this one by accident. So what you have to do now. Of course, there's a save button behind it. So you can still access your deleted widgets. So here, when you click on this cogwheel icon, you can go to your deleted widgets. And here you will find all your deleted widgets. Again, these were the ones that I deleted right now. Not all of them, a few of them are, the rest are a little bit lower somewhere here. And again, you can restore them in bulk. So you can just restore the selected widgets, or you can just restore one. I just want to restore that one, and then you can go back to your widgets right here, and you can see that it will be in your list again. So here it is again. So don't worry if you delete something wrong. Know that there's still a deleted widgets folder behind it. Okay. So make widgets inaccessible and delete widgets also possible. I have some tips for you guys to keep your account in order using groups and using folders, because I've worked with many teachers over the years, and I can see that there are some issues that come back. So I really want to beware to make you alert of the issues that are there and give you the tips to avoid them. So the first thing is, if you're working with groups, that you have to make sure that you join a group that doesn't match the exact name of your courses in your learning management system. Because if you have a course that's called geography in, let's say, Google Classroom, and you want to join a collaborative group that's called geography, they will both show below each other, and you will not know which is which group. So when you put a widget in the first group and then the next day you put a widget by accident in the second group, you can't find them back, but you don't know why. It's just because the names match each other and you have no distinctive factor between the two groups. So this is really important. The next thing is to always duplicate widgets from collaborative groups, as otherwise you can, in many cases, you can just share a widget directly with your students from outside the group, but this makes it really hard to find back the widget later on. So if you're going to look back later and you see that you want to make some changes to the widget you've shared, it will be hard to find back your widget because you don't know out of which group you have selected the widget. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Oh, that's not it. So I don't know if everyone knows it. I hope they do, and otherwise it's a new world that is going to open. In my widgets, in widgets here, when you go down, you have this button, My Groups. And here you can find groups of other teachers working together. You can join a group and you can publish your own materials in those groups as well, making some kind of greater group with lots and lots of collaborative work, collaborative widgets, teachers that share their widgets for their courses. You can discover a group, let's say geography. So we have a geography class here, but we do have a geography course here, and so on. So a lot of geography. Make sure that if you have a geography course already in Google Classroom or Teams, then it will be an issue. I'll just click on one group. This is a group that is a closed group, so I have to request access to join the group. I'm going to show you a group that is public. BookWidgets blog. So a lot of BookWidgets groups as well. So if you're joining more than one BookWidgets group that's just called BookWidgets, it's really hard to know what's in it, of course. book widgets blog. So that's one from us. It's a public group, so everything we put on our blog you'll find in this group. You can see there's lots of ideas and folders and widgets in it. So let's say that I want to do an audio lesson, and there's this fun one of instruments and so on. And I want to use this exercise and share it with my students. What I could do is share it immediately from here. But then again, it's a large group. I am a member of lots and lots of other groups. So in the end, I wouldn't know that this is a widget that I had from this group out of this folder. So what I suggest you do is always duplicate the widget and put it in a folder somewhere here in your own widgets or in your own course that's connected to a learning management system. Otherwise, you won't find it anymore. So put it somewhere where you want it, put it there, a duplicate, the widget will open and you can make some changes if you want and then share your own duplicate with your students. So I hope this makes sense and I hope this really helps you out. So that's working with groups, so tips. And of course, if you're working with folders, that's also important. So if you're just, I think a folder structure is really, really important to keep an overview on all your widgets, possibly put duplicates in collaborative groups. So if you are sharing, so I am a member of the BookWidgets blog. In this case, I also have authority to post in it because, of course, I write the blog post. But that would mean that I could publish the original widget right inside this group, or I could put the original widget somewhere here and just take a duplicate of it and put a duplicate in the other group. This means that I find all my original widgets somewhere in my folders, somewhere in a nice overview, in a folder structure, in my widgets, and I put all the duplicates somewhere in other groups so other teachers can use it, but I don't have to worry about where I've put my widget. So that's really, really important if you're working with groups, if you're working with folders, to keep an eye on where you have everything so you can find it back later. Remember that there's a filter, so you can filter here on a short code, on the type of a widget. You can also filter on something that's in the name. So if you would say design, then you can find here the widget that of course has design. Remember that this filter goes for every single group. So it goes for widgets, but then if you want to find a widget somewhere else, you have to find it for every single group. So it's really important and it's handy to just put every widget you have here and then put some duplicates somewhere else. Okay. The next tip I want to give you for starting next school year is put some work into templates. Templates can help you create widgets faster, as you can start from a template with the right design and the right setting instead of always starting from scratch. You just duplicate the widget and then the template, and then you can add your content. But of course, the template always has the right settings already. It has the right design of the widget and it has the right questions. I have an example for you here. So I have a folder and I called it templates. And in this one, you can create different templates of every single widget you use the most. So in this case, I have a template of a worksheet, but if you're using a quiz or flashcards or timeline or a crossword riddle a lot, you also have to create templates for all those different widget types. Anyway. Okay, so I'll just show you this one. This is a school layout template of my school. I teach at PXL College. I teach adult students here. And this is what I do. I put the logo of my school in a text question. I've put the design settings into the green one. This is the green of our school's logo and our school's design. I also, in my exercises, as I teach adult students, I really want them to think about questions I ask. So it are open text questions. So this is an example of just one question, as it are all just the only questions I'm using. I'm putting it here in as well to just see how the design looks. And again, when my students have to submit, I want them to fill out my teacher address, as I have other colleagues as well. And then they have to fill out the teacher, the email address of my colleague. But I just want to remind them that they can copy this, click on submit, and enter the teacher mail. And that's it. And this is a message I use for all my students. So this is something I want to put in my template, so I don't have to type it over and over again. The only thing I'm going to do now is click on this little arrow, make a duplicate somewhere else in a folder. So I did that. Then I'm going to open it here, edit. And I can change whatever I want. So all the settings are right here. So when I go to preview and I go to design, you can see it's still the green. So if I'm going to change my questions, it will still have the design I chose earlier, and I don't have to put in the settings over and over again. So that's just it. I don't have to change the layout anymore. I can just enter a title. I can start adding questions right here, or of course I can duplicate my questions and then enter them. That's also possible. Title and reporting, that's also, it's enabled to submitting of answers. That is what I want. And in the general options, I have the points that are associated with each question, because I want to show my students on how many points the questions are. And that's something entirely to you, but you can enable those options already in your template. So you don't have to do anything on that. The only thing you have to do is enter your question. That's it. So you don't have to take a look at the design. You don't have to take a look at the options anymore. So it goes way, way faster than starting from scratch over and over again. So that's the template tip. And there are a few, these are the last extra tips I have for you, things that you can do in your account. And that is, the first thing is disable receiving mails. A lot of teachers always say they get a mail for every student that is submitting an answer. And that is true. So from start, by default, you will get a mail. Of course, you will get those submissions inside your BookWidgets account, so you don't need to get those mails. So you can disable them. I'll show you right away where you can do this. You can also export a widget list. So this makes it easy to share, to get an overview of all widgets within one folder, with all the links for students and for teachers. This one is for teachers that are not using a learning management system, to just give them a quick overview of every single widget in a folder, and the link that's associated with it. And this is also some inside widgets, not necessarily an account tip, but really a tip I want to show everyone because it's really, really handy. So, okay. Let's start with the last one. So you can import questions from other widgets. So I have this template open and I want to add my questions. And I remember that I've created a database with just a widget, another widget with lots and lots of questions. And I want to use a question of that widget. So I just click on this little icon, the cogwheel icon, and I click on import from widget. Now I just choose the widget I want to take out a question of. So let's see, this one, the Europe one, has 3 questions. I just click on the question I want to import. Just let's say those 2, and I click on import. And now you can see that those questions are here as well. You can see it in the preview that I've entered, just imported those questions from another widget, which makes it really, really easy. You don't have to make this question again. So that was the last tip. The widget list is something else, of course, I wanted to show you. You go to My Widgets and you can just export a list. So let's say I have this nice folder with lots and lots of exit tickets. I can click here and I can choose to export a widgets list. And if I do that, a new tab will open and of course, I just have one that is shared already. That's maybe not the best example, but I will have all my widgets here. It's the types of the widgets, the shortcodes of each widget, the link to share with my students, and the link to share with teachers if I have other teachers that can make a copy in their own account and make some changes to the widget. So it will be a complete list with an overview of shortcodes, links for students, and links for teachers. If, of course, you've already shared it or if you're already processed the widget. So this is really interesting as well. It's just a tip to give you guys if you want to get a real quick overview of all the links. You can easily just copy everything and then put it somewhere else and share it with other teachers if they want to use it. So that's the widget list. And I think I had one more, the emailing. So you go to my account and then here in your account, you go to student work. And here you can disable. So this is standard by default, all checked. Of course, you don't want to receive mails. So you can just disable this, disable email results, and disable survey and exit slip results, which means that you will still receive the submissions. You will still get the student work here within your grades and reporting, or if you have a connection to the learning management system, it will still go there. You can still consult all the student results right there, but you won't get it by mail anymore. So you don't get a mail by when every student submits something. So that's really handy as well.